Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Believe it or not, it's officially time for me to do my 2-month update, and I actually don't have any sort of weekend palettes to talk to you guys about because I haven't been wanting to use any weekend palettes. So all I've been using for the past month is my Maybelline The Blush Nudes palette. So I'm really excited to show you guys my progress. We're going to start first with the How About Them Apples. So we'll go ahead and insert my progress from last month. And this is where I am after 2 months of use. So this palette I think is a little frustrating for this type of tracking because I've noticed when I panned these two previous pans that you don't really see a lot of progress once you start to make dips like you can see in here until like a good chunk of the pan is showing through. I have pressed like clean bobby pins into both pie, as you can see the little hole there, and in candy, and I don't have, there's like nothing left for dent in candy. Right now all I'm doing is I'm basically working the product until I'm sure next month, if I keep using candy as much as I am right now, I will have a lot of pan showing through, because what I've done in the past is I've hit pan in the center before and then I've taken a bobby pin and I've scraped the stuff on the sides and I've pressed it down to put it more in the center because of the way I blend it down with my stippling brush. So this past month, I predominantly used Candy and Crisp, just like I was doing last month. But I feel like Crisp doesn't really have any kind of significant dent or progress in it, which is kind of really frustrating. I feel like I don't know how I'm gonna get through Crisp. I feel like it takes so little product to build up on my cheeks, and I'm just not making dents in it. So I kind of got fed up and moved on to Candy, and I think I'm gonna spend a good chunk of the next month just working on Candy to see if I can get any noticeable pan to show through. I haven't really been super into pie. I think once I am more into the spring and summer months, I'll be more accustomed to using pie and cobbler. And then when the fall rolls around, I'll probably be much more into Crisp. I'm just kind of like at my wit's end with Crisp since I'm not really making a lot of progress. A lot of you guys recommended to me in the comments in the last month update that I should use my like blending sponge or something else to dip in. I haven't tried that a ton yet because the two colors I've been using, Candy is super emollient, so I'm afraid if I dip a sponge in there, I will have too much of an intense color that I can't press away or blend away with a beauty blender. And then with Crisp, I'm worried that because it's so hard, it won't be able to be picked up. So what I've been doing mostly is I'm either using my finger or I'm using a stippling brush just to pick the product up and pat it onto my cheeks. And then I blend it out with my beauty blender, which I do like the look of. But I definitely am going to try like on a weekend trying out using a beauty blender to both put the product on my cheeks and blend it out to see if I like that better. I feel like this is just a tough one to show month-to-month progress on because of the way I have panned this in the past. All right, now let's move on to my Maybelline Blush Nudes. I will again show you where I was last month in case you have forgotten. And this is what my palette looks like after 2 months of usage. You probably can tell, I have been favoring, just like I was last month, these two colors. I probably only have like a week's worth of use left in this, and this will be gone. And then I'm really happy that I have managed to, if you look on the side here, I've managed to scrape away all of the product that was sitting on this side of the pan, along with like widening this general circle. This has still been my pretty much go-to look with these two. And then as you can also see here, I did widen the pan a little bit on this color. I wore this one just a couple of times in the month, still not super into it, but I am really happy to say that I played with this particular dark color, and it is pretty dark, but I've been liking using this with a certain eyeshadow single for a daytime look, and it is the Acorn Super Shock Shadow from ColourPop. So much so that I've actually hit pan on my color here. You can see just a little bit of pan showing through. I don't fully understand how the pans on these work because I feel like there's like a little center piece, but then it is deeper around like the other parts of the pan. I don't know, but these two colors together have been really beautiful colors, and it's given me faith that I can make this work. Don't get me wrong, this shade is really dark for my crease, but it just gives me hope that I can use it. I also tried out another look using this in my crease, and I brought in another single shadow, which is this Cargo Shadow in Provence. I'm not sure, but this is the actual shade, and I had this on my lid. I actually really liked those two colors together, so it's given me a lot of like inspiration to know that even though I do have my regulars that I go to on a frequent basis, my everyday sort of day-to-day looks, I do like that I did at least explore using these two with some different lid shades, and I liked them, but they're definitely not going to be easy to work through, so I need to sort of start to use them on a more frequent basis. And I think once I use up this lid shade in particular, I'll stop using this as like my go-to crease shade and pull in more of those other things. The other thing I've pulled in, and I've used it for both of these creases and this crease shade, is this e.l.f. product. This is the e.l.f. Rose Gold shade here. It's really, really pretty. It's worked out really well, along with using my Urban Decay Space or Midnight Cowboy from last month. These are also really good. So I've been really happy with this challenge because the way I pulled this palette, it's forced me to really use a lot of different lid shades that I wouldn't have ordinarily gotten so much use out of single shadows before, and I'm hoping that maybe along the way I can pan some single shadows as I'm using these different crease color looks. I also am happy to report that in my Studio Makeup On The Go eyeshadow palette, I've hit some pretty intense pan in this shadow. It happened like I think the week after I had filmed my 1 month update, and I've just been widening that pan all throughout the month. So I'm sure by like the next 2 months, I'll have finished this up completely and we'll have moved on to a different crease shade. After I filmed that video, a lot of you guys suggested that I buy the creme blue. A lot of you guys suggested I buy like a single shadow like Wet n Wild's Creme Brulee, and I probably should, but I think what I'm going to do is I would personally rather use all of the cream shadows and all of my palettes that I have right now first, and then later on if I need to, after that point in time, if I pull a new palette out, like if I want to never pan this, and that palette or that color shade is gone, I would then go to buy a single shadow. I think right now, even though I was being very dramatic last month saying I didn't want to pan all those colors, I think I'd rather use what I have first. So that way I ensure that the colors I've already purchased I get use out of versus like buying something new and never having touched the other things that I have had for a longer time. So I'm going to go ahead and go with that route. I'm less upset that I've been panning basically the cream shadows because this is only the third palette I've done that to, and I have probably like 5-6 more, so it'll be a while before I'm out of all of palettes that have this shade in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll with it and keep panning and using up as much as I can. So even though I'm a little disenfranchised about the How About Them apples, I feel like the progress I'm making in my Maybelline Blush Nudes is making up for it and keeping me really excited because again, I made some good discoveries with these darker colors. The only shade in here that I really haven't used at all ever is this last sort of glittery shade, and I'm hoping to maybe try it out this month. My ultimate goal is to finish this up completely in this month, and then to also finish up this like bottom part of this pan here, and then keep playing around with as many other colors as I can. Also, fun fact, I was looking at this palette because I had kind of forgotten what the first two shades look like because it's been so long since I panned those, and they've actually rearranged the colors in the palette. This no longer sits here, it sits like up here, and they moved another one of these colors down here. I don't know why they did that, but if you go to the store and buy this, your palette may look slightly different than mine, just because they've moved around some of the colors. They didn't seem to change any of the colors because I thought originally they had gotten rid of this altogether, which would have changed my outlook on this palette. but they just moved it to this top row. I just don't know why, but they have made some modifications to this since it first came out and I bought it. But it's just a little fun, little tidbit I discovered at Walmart a couple days ago. But that is it for me. If you're doing any kind of Pan Those Palette challenges, let me know in the comments below how you're doing with it. And I, of course, will update you guys next month. All right, I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.